I'm woke. I'm your host, Emelina Calder. In today's video, I'm going to take you guys through an Akashic Records reading in the collective conscious of lightworkers, as well as I'm going to be touching base into the halls of Amenti because they have something special for you guys that they told me based on the last reading I did with you. So many of you started contacting the halls of Amenti and getting downloads that they did something very special for us that I'm going to bring your attention to. So I'm going to do a reading here for you guys. The Akashic Records recommended that I make this a rest of the year reading. So I'm not sure exactly what they have to bring through, but it is like the rest of this year, harnessing your power, harnessing your soul remembering. If you missed the last video on the Halls of Amenti, I highly suggest you go watch it or listen to it podcast style. I think it's like a couple of hours long, but it's in my live stream feed. So we'll go there. If you're new to my channel, my name is Emelina Calder. I'm a psychic medium, a cosmic shaman, a coach, life coaching, and personal branding coaching. But in the personal branding category, it's under the category of being a spiritual entrepreneur. So we handle things very differently than traditional marketing, of which I have tons of experience, so I know the differences. And I'm an Akashic Records coach, reader, practitioner, healer, and guide. I help people contact their soul, work with their soul, embody their soul, transmit and channel their soul, and step into their destiny and their highest potential in this lifetime. It's a daily practice. It's what I help people do. It's pretty amazing. And I did just launch Akashic Records Immersion. I have a lot of new students in there that we did our opening ceremony today, which was such a freaking blessing. And I know some of you guys will see this video and I'm just it was so magical and I'm so pleased to hold space in that way. My guides did tell me to keep the promo code open through tomorrow night. If there are some of you that are stragglers that have been wondering and sitting on the fence or are just seeing this video and forgot about it, you can go ahead and check the link in the description below if you want to do a deep dive 7-module program into the Akashic Records, which now also has an additional, it's already 18 hours of content, and then I did an additional 18 hours of bonus content on top of that. So you're getting like 36 hours of instructional content. Not just instructional like school-like, it's channeled. It's what we do here. It's channeled work. It's a combination of my integration, my experience, and what comes through me in my own transmissions through the Akashic Records as the soul blueprint, as the method or the delivery, the vehicle that I use to get you guys in touch with who you are, truly and authentically at your soul self. If you are new to this, well, actually a couple of things. One, the 70% off coupon promo code, you just plug in at checkout, and that is the code Ancestors. I left that link in the description below as well. We did an opening ceremony. You will get access to that. I will be doing a couple of live group calls that if you jump in last minute into the program and want to jump in, you'll get access to those live calls where you'll have access to me. You've got access to me in the community feed as well, where I'm directly available to answer questions, etc. And then you've got an entire self-paced, beautiful program as well as some community support in there. And again, all the good bonus stuff. So it's really, really fun. If you're curious about it, I might explain a little bit more at the end of the stream, depending on how I'm feeling. But you can go check out more on the link below. I've been running 1,000,000 miles an hour, guys, for weeks, so I'm just a little tired. So just bear with me. And if you are new to the Akashic Records and want to get your feet wet and you're not ready to jump into something that is a deep dive, but you feel guided to check it out, I do have a free training as well. It's also linked below. It's iamemelina.com/training, and the Akashic Records full-blown program is iamemelina.com/akashic-records. Okay, I think that's all the things we've got there. Anything else? No, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna run right in here to, oh no, I did have one more thing. Like the video, comment below, subscribe. Okay, those are all the things. I'm gonna check in first with the Akashic Records in the Light Collective here and see what they want to bring to our attention. And then I'm gonna go directly into the Halls of Amenti because I've already been conversing with them. They've already set some time aside with some downloads, so I'm really excited about that as well. What do you guys wish to share right now? What's the message we all most need to hear? The first thing, I'm just going to stream of conscious what they're showing me. The first thing they're showing me in the collective is there's a lot of momentum now with you guys, because I've been streaming into the collective a lot and doing a lot of collective healing publicly. You guys all look like, it looks like a giant train station in the light collective, and all of a sudden it's like people woke up and they're like, oh my god, I have somewhere to go. Like, holy crap, I have a life purpose. Like, what have I been doing? Oh, move. Oh, I forgot about those soul contracts. Oh shoot, I gotta work out the karma. Like, there's like lists going, there's like people organizing people, there's trains coming in and out. It looks like Grand Central Station. It's just like moving. Now, when I was in the collective yesterday, this is not how the energy felt. And I do know we went through a big timeline shift. I had a friend call me earlier today. He was like, did you, like, he just explained, he gave me huge confirmation about the work I did yesterday. He didn't know I did it. He was like, did we jump timelines? And he went through all this like stuff. And I was like, yeah, I think we did. And I think it's because of this healing work that I've been doing. So there's a big timeline jump at the light collective level where all of a sudden they're telling me that we've been given permission to organize. Permission to organize ourselves, and permission for us to organize together, permission for us to stick together, permission for us to work together, permission for us to step into our higher gifts. Like, they're saying, now is the time. Those of you that have been sitting on your dormant healing gifts, psychic gifts, acts of service. They said at the beginning of the channel to me, sharing is caring. If you've been withholding, like holding back things, gifts. They're saying gifts, but those gifts can look like a million different things. If you've been withholding your gifts, now is the time to stop doing that and start moving forward. They're showing it to me like hoarding. When you hoard your light, when you hoard your gifts, and you're unwilling to share, the universe can't place you into the current of you receiving. Like, you can receive a lot more prosperity if you are willing to participate in the exchange of actually how awesome you are at the soul level being channeled into your human body. We will get into this a little bit later in the stream, but the halls of Amenti have literally set aside an entire conference room for us energetically as humans within the halls of Amenti, because so many of you guys have been requesting access to remember more so that you can channel more of yourself here, so that you actually can understand your soul gifts and start camping out, I think, as they said on the last stream I did with them, where it's not like, you know, traditionally, and for eons, it's been like this way. Traditionally, when you come as a soul into a human body, you're coming with a very compressed version of your soul, and you're only given access to like, I don't know, like 0.00% of your soul. It's not that much voltage, and you can't do that much with it, which means you end up getting stuck into the human, like stuck into the cycle down here, which means all the star seeds and all the light workers, you know, endlessly, I've heard this for years and years and years and years, and I've felt this way as well, go, I just don't feel like I'm home on this planet. I just don't feel like I belong here. I don't feel safe here. I feel crazy. Because if you think about anywhere else in the universe, those of you that have done channeling or follow any level of transmissions or like starseed channels, like, it is very atypical to have to earn your keep, to have to earn your home in this universe. Only happens on Earth and on Orion. Like, that's it. So when we come to Earth or we go to Orion, we get like kind of confused because we're like, wait, what? Like my value as a whole being, as a soul, isn't honored? Like, you mean I have to figure out how to dumb myself down to like fit into tiny little boxes? The Pete Seeger song is coming up for those of you maybe listening to that. Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes filled with ticky-tacky, right? I haven't thought of that song in a very long time, so there's a download there if you want to go listen to it. It's a very disorienting, what's another word I could use to describe? It's just a very unnatural, atypical, and disorienting process for the soul to work within the human limitations physically, if that makes sense. So for those of you that don't feel at home on this planet, that feel like you don't belong here, it's very, very, very common for light workers to feel that way, which is why I believe so many of you have already even, I think a lot of it's probably subconscious. I don't know how many of you, you can let me know in the comments, are actually meditating with and in the halls of Amenti. But I do believe it's like a subconscious and fifth dimensional trigger that's starting to pull the information into your subconscious, and you're requesting subconsciously likely. Excuse me. The goal is for you to feel at home and safe in a human body. Again, it's a very atypical experience. It takes a lot of work to feel at home and safe in a human body, in a human environment. It's not just about, you know, my guides have been speaking to me like this. It's not just about claiming your home as a human. It's about, can you root your soul into your human experience where your soul feels at home being human. As we shift into 5D with Earth, which who knows how long it takes, but we're in the middle, at the beginning of this shift right now. The 5D experience of Earth ultimately would feel very safe to the human, very safe to the soul being and living through the human experience. So we're starting to make that transition where we're being given access to more remembering and more understanding of who we are at the soul level so that we can anchor it into our physical reality, which ultimately, they're reminding me, comes down to you not posturing. This takes work and practice, you guys, but I'm just going to label them out. You not posturing, you not posing, you not peacocking. I'll explain this through in a moment. You not wearing masks for approval. You not playing into codependency patterns, which is another version of it's like a heart mask, a dark heart mask. You not thinking you need to project a version of yourself to receive validation, approval, or love, or support, or money. How common is that on Earth? Especially with personal branding, right? Like, oh my God, I did it for years. I used to be a personal branding coach. Not used like in a different way. Now I'm in the soul version of that way. But when I did personal branding like 10 years ago, I would coach people into creating a persona that was separate from them. Because that's the way we did it, you know? And it's very, very common for any level of public figures. They siphon off a very small part of themselves. It's very popular. They amplify it and then they hide behind this mask and they hope that nobody sees it. Because if an audience who bought into the public figure sees what's going on behind the scenes, they feel betrayed. And then it creates a whole thing. Anyway, it happens in real life here on Earth all the time. Their point, the reason why they're taking me through this, is to remind you that the soul inherently in the body, living a true authentic experience, is enough. And it is highly magnetic. You want to manifest your dreams? I mean, start being okay with your soul coming through your experience. Stop lying, be honest, stop being dishonest, be transparent with everything that you do, set very, very healthy boundaries. Don't allow yourself to allow like emotional issues or emotional conversations to sit for too long. Handle them quickly with people. Be direct, be tactful. I'm not going to give you the whole stream on that, but be healthy. But like, I don't know, when they're telling me to give I don't have a concrete example, but what I want to tell you is like when I have conflicts arise in my life, nothing gets shoved under a rug. Like I handle conflict-based conversations with people and set boundaries immediately or within 24 hours. Because if you allow those energies to go dormant, be quiet, you shove them under a rug, you give them a lot of power in your shadow, you shove them back into your subconscious, and what they do is they fragment your mind and they fragment your power and they fragment your soul, and they start sending energy to that, and then that energy becomes a separate timeline. It becomes a dark timeline, and then that builds a lot of momentum through time, and then it builds karma, and then it causes pain. All right? Trust the process. Don't be dishonest. I promise, like, integrity is as difficult as it is for people. I wouldn't say it's difficult for me, but it's been a very active daily practice, like for a very, 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 very long time for me. The more integrity you can hold in your body with how you move in this world, that is the soul. You're making room for the soul to be in your body. Now, they're reminding something of me as well. Hold on, let me just check in. So there are 2 ways to work with the soul. There are a million, but like in this example, most people, most spiritual practitioners you go to, most gurus, most of just the common collective spirituality is reaching the soul through exiting out of the crown. They're pulling the soul into the body. It's exhausting. There is another way to bring your soul into your experience, and it is being so safely rooted into your body, into your physical experience, so safe with everything. You're not storing trauma, you're not avoiding trauma, you're not being traumatized in any way. It's learning how to create safety in all of your interactions in every way, shape, and form, that you then create a safe experience literally in your body where the soul, it takes almost no effort when you create the space in your body. The soul just goes, oh, bloop, I'm safe in the body. And it's a really magnetic experience. It's about being authentic. I could talk about this until for hours, until I'm blue in the face. The things that make you the most attractive, both physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and actually attract what you need to you, is your authenticity. And that authenticity, that creative expression, is your soul in your body with you. To have your soul with you, you have to make it safe. To make it safe, you can't lie much at all. I don't lie at all. I never tell a lie. Truly, never. My guides call my ass out if I do. And then they make me go back and make a phone call and go, hey, I wasn't transparent. Let me readdress this. Literally, that's the level of integrity I'm held to, because the soul wants to nest in the body. If you tell lies, if you are in conflict within the self, if you're in conflict with others, if you're avoiding feeling your feelings, if you're avoiding doing your healing work, because the body is the subconscious projection of your human experience. If you avoid all of that, then the body, you could still access your soul, obviously, but the body's just not a safe space for your soul to live. And everything that you're gonna want, the expansion, the glow up, everything, you want your body to be a safe place for your soul to nest in. Okay, I think that message is delivered appropriately. Where else did you guys want to take me? I knew the authenticity we went through. When you're the most authentically you, and you're not feeding into masks, projections, personas, versions of yourself that are there as personal manipulations in order to try to manipulate others to do what you want so that you can get what you want from them. It's all very psychotic behavior. They're giving us permit. They're like, you have permission. You're not all crazy. Light workers just don't realize that because we're making a big shift on the planet right now. It's no bad or shame on anyone. It's literally we're shifting. I believe, also, I don't know when Kali Yuga ends, if you guys have heard that, the Kali Yuga age from yoga, which is the period in the darkness, but I think it ends soon, or we've already shifted. I don't know. Anyway, we're in a big transition period right now with humanity on Earth, and we are shifting into a place of being safe in our truths, being safe in our body, being safe as a soul in a human experience. And they're asking me just to break down again really quickly what most people don't understand. Even light workers, even people working with light, even people doing healing, even people that are genuine and are sincere. Again, no shade around this, but there are practices that are psychotic behaviors that have become normalized at the collective level because they are survival mechanisms in order to literally survive within the collective hive mind, which is rather psychotic. All right, projecting one version of yourself in order to make someone think something about you, to control the narrative of who someone else thinks you are, in order to manipulate and make sure you receive resources, whether it's love, whether it's approval, whether it's money, whether it's housing for some of it. Like, I don't know, there are a lot of things. That is a psychotic manipulative behavior. You guys likely aren't just gonna all of a sudden like drop it and piece out and shift that quickly. But it's like just creating the discernment in your mind right now of being like, oh, I don't have to participate in the manipulations of the matrix in order to receive. Because I was gonna say in order to get what I want, but that in itself is manipulative. So they're bringing this up not for you to cure all right now, end of the day, or you will be smited. Like it's nothing like that. It's for you to start understanding this gray gradient of discernment so that you can feel your way through a little bit less manipulation, a little bit less manipulation, a little bit less control, a little bit less. I'll give you another version of control. There are a lot of fake betas out there. Or covert narcissists, we could call them. Is that what they're called? I think so. Where it's like, not everyone manipulative is aggressive. Another form of manipulation, the empathic way of manipulating, is being so kind and so nice and giving because you want something. And you're hoping that they will give that to you if you place their needs or priorities ahead of your own. That is typically the empath's way of manipulation. It's no less manipulative than a narcissist's way of manipulating. It just looks much sweeter on the surface. If that called any of you out, I'm sorry, not sorry. They're asking me to cover it, but I think it's more about bringing awareness to those patterns. I'm actually feeling a lot of you are not going to feel called out. You'll be like, oh my God, thank you so much for pointing that out to me. Like, I didn't even think maybe I might be doing that. Maybe I should look at that. That's a really healthy emotional pattern, you know? If you think like that, you're probably not a narcissist. Isn't that great? Can we celebrate mental health more? I feel like that needs to be done. We live in a society where you really only get ahead if you're, but in the typical standards in the collective, if you're a narcissist, a psychopath, or a sociopath. And it's just like, I was just like, whoa, can the healthy people get ahead? And it's like, yes, but not by engaging in highly selfish behaviors to control and manipulate others around you. If the healthy people do that, that's why this is such a epidemic in the collective. These severe mental health issues are because people think that in order to survive on Earth, that they have to perform like a monkey in a circus to control the narrative, to control what other people do, which is to inherently deny that other people have their own authority, and it is to deny that you are worthy of receiving without hurting someone in return, without having to control them. You do not have to control a single effing narrative. Is it a gradual gradient process of getting yourself out of that belief system? Yes. Ultimately, I'll give you the hack, but it's taken me several years to really integrate this for myself, so I don't know how long it'll take for each of you individually. It comes down to understanding that source is your provider, okay? Source is what is giving you what you need. Source is going to give you the insights, the ahas, the opportunities, the ideas, the people, and then it's up to you to take action on it. So your work changes. Instead of trying to control or manipulate the narrative, instead of trying to control and manipulate circumstances and other people, which is all very egoically driven, your work shifts to understanding what you want with high definition and high clarity. Understanding that there are easy ways for you to receive what you want without compromising your morals, values, or ethics, or anyone else's morals, values, or ethics. Very simple. Not common, but it's very simple. Okay, clarity, not compromising values, having high standards, and then submission to source, submitting the ego and the idea that things have to be hard, the ideas that you have to suffer. In that process of submission, there's a big sabotaging component that the ego has like a stranglehold around us, where the ego is like, no, it can't, and then it overrides with the power of will subconsciously to destroy good things. For us, I don't know I think that happens to just about everyone in one way or another. You getting very familiar with how your ego likes to sabotage, how your shadow will sabotage things, helps to close that gap. And I'll be very honest, fasting is what will help close that gap. So whenever I'm moving through something where I would typically hit an upper limit for myself, where my ego and my shadow would sabotage, I will purposely fast on those days to help me let go of the stranglehold in my subconscious, or what one of my dear friends calls strongholds, that allows you to like release the ego and the shadow for the day. The fasting gives your spirit the room to come in and guide you through the transition so that you can let go of the sabotage. I can't recommend it enough. Like 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever you can handle. That fasting, I'm not going to get into all the details. I've got some videos on my YouTube feed about fasting. You could do a water fast. You could do a juice fast. You can do a fruit fast. The point is the intention. It's about removing the food because that allows your spirit to come in, and your intention or your prayer to break through something, to work through something specific, is what clears the way in your body for your soul to get you immediate direct guidance to be able to move through those like strangleholds of the shadow. So that's really important. Okay, was there anything else? The submission. And then receiving. So getting yourself in a state of allowance. The easiest way I would recommend doing that is getting creative. Anything creative. For me, painting can get me in that state, going into nature, going for a swim, anything that makes you feel vibey and creative will put you in a state of allowance, which is the state of receiving, so that you can actually receive the guidance that you need, receive the resources you need, receive the money, receive the people, receive. You know, when we put forth action, we then also, there's a period of sitting back to receive, and then we do an action, and then we receive, and then we do an action, and then we receive. We have to be very, very clear in the direction of where our attention and our focus is, and then get over the ego strangleholds. I had an ego death last night. It had me on my knees. I'm not gonna lie. If you guys saw the video I shot yesterday, it's like not a big deal per se, but that video was such a confrontational. It was so confrontational to my shadow and my ego. I'm so happy I just did it without thinking, because if you think about it, then the ego starts to get its claws in. I generally try to jump on the spiritual guidance before my ego really realizes what's happening. And even last night, after I shot the video with you guys, once my ego started catching up as far as what happened, I had an entire projection. I mean, I'm psychic AF. Like, I was sitting on my couch over here, and I had an entire psychic projection of my shadow and my ego exiting out of my heart and then sprinting around the room telling me how much she hated me. And I was like, oh, I'm confronting my ego. Okay. You don't like that I did that. That was a big move. All right, good to know. And then she died, and it was hard. Ego deaths are hard. We'll go into them in another video at some point. I will cover ego deaths, but it's really just it's a breaking of your current identity, making room for a new spiritual identity that breaks through, which is really like the next version of yourself, the next level. Nobody likes an ego death. They're painful. They hurt. It's an identity break. But they are part of the process, and they happen frequently for people like me. The more frequently you can kind of adopt to them, the easier it is to move through these processes. How do you say it? I don't know what the version of that word that's grammatically correct is. And then you can kind of work it. Okay, is there anything else we need there? It's just a different system. So to have success on Earth, there's like this manipulative system that we're taught and good people fall into, because there's just about no example on how to do it in a healthy way. So what I'm channeling through for the collective is this alternative healthy way. It's not shown very often, but if you take notes, I mean, I think identified it into 4 components. You actually learning, absorbing, moving through that. Simple things take a long time to master, but if you want to feel good about yourself ultimately and not have very, very difficult karma all the time that you have to work through, I recommend investing in that side of the human experience program to receive. Okay, now I'm going to check in with the AKASHIC Records again, and then I'm going to shoot over the Halls of Amenti, because I do want to touch on that channel as well, that transmission rather. Have fun with the process. They literally just said to me, have fun. It sounds like, it just sounds really serious. And they're telling me that the Light Collective, everyone's very serious because we're like, oh my God, that's what's happening. Well, I have to do this. And Spirit, through the Akashic Records, Spirit is like, you know, lessen it up. It's more like play than it is like, oh my God, I have to do this immediately. I have no grace. You're going to have grace. You're going to be given grace through your process. These ideas are words that reach your mind to start massaging your consciousness in a new way, where you begin to realize that there are other ways that you can live your life that are likely much more harmonious with who you are at your core and your sacred heart space, allowing yourself to feel balanced in who you are all the time because you're not lying and sacrificing your values in order to make a dime. That there are other ways that you can live. And just the idea and the understanding and awareness of that, there are other ways I can live that are more sustainable than the current way I might be living, is enough to start that gentle shift in your subconscious. And because we're in the Akashic Records, and this is an Akashic Records channel, in the collective channel, that download, that transmission is now available in the collective mind of the conscious light worker. So it will be available when the time is right for you. The point is that it's already starting to seep into your subconscious so that you can take this. It's not about not taking it seriously. They're just showing me the way that most light workers take things, which makes sense because I'm kind of like this too. It's like, oh, okay, I have to do that now and I have to fix it all right now. And it's like chill out. It's going to take some integration. It's going to take some time. Yes, start moving forward that way, but don't whip crack yourself into place. Does that make sense? I think it would. Okay. It's about learning to live in the gray zone. There's a lot of polarity-based thinking, duality-based thinking, less in the Light Collective than the traditional human collective, but it's still very present. And it's about learning to live in that gray zone, learning to dial your perception to be able to see the different tones of gray and intuitively understand what they mean for you. When we force ourselves to make things black and white, it's a feast or famine territory. That's like, what's another way they, sink or swim is what my guides typically say to me. It's either sink or swim or feast or famine. When you think in terms of duality, you force yourself and your ego into a success or failure mindset. But the reality is, if you're making an upward trajectory and you're in a growth mindset, it's all success. So why even be like, oh, I'm gonna fail with it? It's like learning to read between the lines and say it's all upwards motion for me. The gray zone is it's all up. It's all up from here, baby. Like, it is not a black and white situation. And when you catch yourself thinking in terms of black and white, Spirit will speak in black and white if that's the way that you think, because it will reach you where you are. But Spirit is not inherently punishing in the way that black and white thinking leads us to believe. Spirit will just meet you where you are. It'll meet you with your spiritual vocabulary level because it needs to meet you. So if you can learn to expand your spiritual vocabulary by teaching yourself that as long as you're on the upward trajectory and you're working to be a good human, you're doing your best to be honest, you're doing your best to be transparent, you're doing your best to not hide motives, you're doing your best to not withhold your gifts, that it is a slow, steady growth process, and that it's okay to be on a slow, steady growth process instead of an adrenaline response that's like high highs and low lows and depression and I screwed it up and oh my God, I have to start over. My life was better 10 years ago. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like start getting everything together and I'm gonna ramp up and I manifest this really great thing and then I crash again. It's like a really volatile cycle is what they're showing me. I call that manic manifesting. It's very common for ADHDers, for those of you that have ADHD, but it's also very common in spiritual communities that teach manifestation. Is like, it's very much a feast or famine cycle. So it's understanding to teach your mind to think in terms that are not black or white or feast or famine. How does that happen? Well, it's a very daily active reprogramming where when you catch yourself thinking that way, you say to yourself and you replace the thoughts and the programs like, huh, Did I just think I was going to be punished if I don't do this? Oh, that's black and white thinking. Is that true? Highly unlikely. All right, well, what's a better thought? If God, if Source was an all-loving, highly intelligent being that wanted to see me with good growth, like a really benevolent parent, what would Source say to me? Source would say, move the needle forward a little bit. Or like, if you're exhausted today, tomorrow's a new day, get back up. Try again. Nobody said you have to get it right on the first shot. Like, they're asking me right now, because I'm very good at this, to take the stigma out of the perfectionism of spirituality, thinking you have to get it right, have to get it perfect in order for God to love you. God's gonna love you no matter what. You know, do your best and start the process of not removing dualistic thinking, dissolving dualistic thinking, and expanding your thinking to realize in any moment, instead of this or this or this or this, what about this and 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 this? Wow, I have so many options of what I can choose to think in this moment, what I can choose to believe in this moment, what story I can choose to engage in. You got lots of options all the time. Options, options, options. We're taught as humans to think in terms of feast or famine because it feeds the collective mind. It feeds big companies. It feeds big government. It feeds all of it, okay, without getting into any politics or anything. It's just like it feeds all the big systems. They like to keep the collective in a feast or famine cycle mentally, in dualistic thinking. So if you can teach yourself at every moment and every time, like, I've got lots of options all the time. Like, for example, if you're tired or stressed and you're like, oh, I have to either do this work or I have to go to sleep. And it's like, well, I don't know. They're just giving me a simple example. It's like, maybe, but let's look at some options, right? It's like, okay, I could do the work. I could do the work for 10 minutes and I could take a break. I could take a cat nap. I could sleep, like I mentioned, sure. Or I guess that would be over here on our spectrum, right? It's like, I can get a quick bite to eat. I can go for a walk around the block. I can call a friend. I could bop, 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 bop. Because really you're looking to recover your energy in a scenario like this and be productive. There are so many ways you can get where you want to go. And what limits us the most is the idea that it has to be this or it has to be this, and the stakes are high and they're dire, and if I don't do it, then bad things happen. Is any of that true? Well, I'll tell you, if you believe it, it becomes true, right? But is it true? Is that the real truth? Is that the truth universally? Absolutely not. The truth is you get to decide how things go for you. You get to decide how you want to work your process. You get to decide how relaxed or how adrenaline response stressed you want to be in any moment. All right. Where else do you guys want to take me with that, or can we get into the halls of Amenti now? Address your cortisol levels is what they're saying, what they're saying to you. So it's like when you find that you're getting a high adrenaline response, when your cortisol is spiking, that is a chemical, biological response to something to get your attention and your awareness so that you take a specific sort of action that may or may not be good or healthy for you. It's just an automatic response from the body. It's like Pavlov's dog, okay? When you find yourself in that specific cortisol adrenaline response, watch yourself and pull yourself off the cliff and say, we don't need to go there. I understand that adrenaline response happened, but what is a safer, more stable physical cocktail, like emotional cocktail, like physical way of handling what I need to handle right now? Do I really feel like I need that fear-based response in order to have a healthy life? Or can I trust God's source? Can I trust creativity? Can I trust the quieter voice that says, maybe it's a good time to go for a walk, sweetheart? Like, maybe buy yourself some flowers, right? Like, maybe like do something entirely different for yourself. Instead of whatever, reprogram yourself instead of whatever the fear-based response is. And it'll come up daily. A lot of spiritual communities, including lightworking communities, see God as like a punishing God, where if you don't do things the right way, and if you don't if you don't resonate in terms of God, it's like, okay, the universe, like if I don't think exactly perfectly and I have a negative thought today that I can't delete out of my mind, my manifestations are going to be ruined. That's a punishing God, okay? It's the same paradigm, just with different New Age language. And that's not how the universe works. The universe only works when we think that way. But it's not the ultimate truth. The truth is that the universe is soft and sweet. It will be hard. It will deliver hard lessons and big tower moments if you're not getting it. And or it will do it as a way of reconstructing your life so that you can have a steady foundation. A lot of this is about being very mentally flexible in how you choose to perceive your reality and how much self-love you can give to yourself within your core belief system. So when you think about the universe in terms of punishment, what you're really doing is hurting yourself. It's a form of self-deprecation. And that creates a fear-based karmic loop and cycle that diminishes your energy rather than building or giving you more energy at a simple level. Okay, so I think that's that. And I'm just literally going to say to them, okay, no more. Like, direct me to the halls of Amenti, because that thing was really cool that they were telling me. So I'm just going to shift gears for a moment and swing back to you guys. So in the halls of Amenti, and they did this because of the stream they opened up with me, where I had a transmission in the halls of Amenti with you guys. And if you haven't seen that, I'll try to link it below or look in my live streams. They opened up etherically in the halls of Amenti, an entire great room is what they're calling it. It's very ornate. It doesn't quite look like the Harry Potter thing. It's like definitely different how it's being shown to me, but it is a great room, and there is like a galaxy in the ceiling. They gave I don't think the halls of Amenti are just strictly for humanity either, but they gave our collective, the Light Collective down here, a specific great room to come into where they're showing me they have mentors, very similar to the Akashic Records, the way the Akashic Records works with our souls. But it's like a different curriculum. They're set to, can you guys, okay, so they're showing it to me like a college, like the Akashic Records can cover everything, every topic, every healing session, every aspect of your soul. The halls of Amenti are like going to I guess the Akashic Records would be the university. The halls of Amenti are like going to a college that specifically specializes in visual arts or in music or in math. Like, it's a specific thing. So this great room that we now have access to, they're bringing in mentors to help the souls that a lot of you are already asking for subconscious access, which is why they created this. They're very excited about it, by the way. They're very stoic in general, I would say, and I see a lot of like exuberant energy with them. They're very happy about this. And the specific curriculum that they have set aside for us, let me just tap into that. It's being able to access higher states of awareness in a safe way in human consciousness. So these are the higher aspects of your soul, more of your soul awakening, your soul DNA, your soul remembering. Can you guys tell me a little bit more? It's funny because if you guys think about, they do this in mystery schools across the universe, and like my astral body will travel to a lot of that stuff occasionally, but it's essentially they're like a mystery school in the halls of Amenti where your astral body is going to retreat to while you sleep, depending on how much information you need, to sit in on classes that they have about how the soul experience can be safer and you can embody more of your soul power and your soul creative energy into your human experience in like many, many different ways. They're showing me they're going to be covering a lot of topics, but it's like specific to humanity, which is very special. Because being a human, there's nothing like being a human in the rest of the universe. It's a very unique experience. And even as much as the wisdom that we can gather from other beautiful, wonderful, high vibe entity types, it's just not human. Like, it's like, okay, that's great, but what does that mean down here? Because we're so limited down here. Like, what does that mean down here? How do we work that down here? Because we're in like a hostile environment on Earth. Like, what? Like, okay, I get it, but how do you know? So anyway, so it's like this adaptation. They're showing me it's kind of like being human as a soul. They're showing me the way your consciousness is shifting is it's kind of like traveling from the US to Europe and having to get power converters for your laptops and stuff for the different voltage of electric frequency. So like, here's the example. What they're saying is most of the souls come into humanity and then they forget that they have a soul voltage. So they forget that they're running at, what do we do here? 120 volts. And then they that's what the soul is running out, for example, and then they come into the human body and they're like, I need more voltage. I don't know how to get it. And they're trying to plug their soul voltage into the outlets and they're like, it doesn't fit. Like, how do I get more soul? And then they freak out and they go to sleep. That's what they're showing me. There's like a temper tantrum and it's like, I'll just go to sleep. Like, I'll just be human on autopilot. And what they're telling me is it's not that difficult per se, but you would have to know that there is a voltage adjustment and then use new tools to access the energetic voltage based on the different voltage that is available on Earth as a human in your body. So what they're going to be doing in these rather robust Great Hall classrooms is teaching you how to adjust, and they're actually bringing in the soul too. So it's going to be the soul and like the human projection of you, which is your astral body, coming together with these mediators, these teams in the halls of Amenti that are ascended masters, guides, custodians. They're actually assigning ascended masters from other points of the universe, because this is just, oh, this is really cool. This has just become a new, how would you guys explain that? A new job that never existed, and it just popped up into this timeline today. The new job that never existed was the need for ascended masters to coach souls on how to dial their frequency voltage in to meet the human and coach the human astral bodies into receiving at that voltage level, and then learning how to maintain and bring that certain amount of soul voltage, or remembering, DNA, awakening, power, creativity into your actual physical experience without harming or disrupting anything around you. Because again, there aren't that many examples of how to do this in a healthy way. So without the examples, we could easily I love the halls of Amenti. They're hilarious. They're literally showing me, they're like, humans are 2-year-olds and you're walking up to electric sockets and going, soul, and putting your fingers in the electric sockets, and then you're getting electrocuted. They're like, you poor humans, we'll teach you. Don't just harness all your soul. Like, there's no examples of how to do that down here. You're essentially putting your fingers in light sockets. Like, chill out, okay? Like, this soul is a lot. Let's teach you. They're like, come on, and they're like hurting us. But they're like, it comes from both sides. They have to teach the soul how to dial the voltage down. Because right now, at the majority of the collective of humanity, the souls are just ignoring the humans, because the humans aren't trying to get access, and it's like a difficult, there's no converter, is what they're showing me. There's no conversation. It's too hard. So when the soul knows that part of it is incarnating it as a human, it just goes, okay, it's on vacation, and then it directs its attention somewhere else. Which is why when you work with your higher self, you have to create a relationship, a daily relationship, because your higher self is somewhere else. They're like, oh, if the human wakes up, like, okay, but like, you're like left in a room, like, because there's been this missing conversation, energy matching, frequency adjustment, we will cover this in other videos. I'm like, there's a lot even that I can feel energetically, even just within that conversation. But what they're doing is they're teaching your soul how to bring its attention to you. You can think about, this is how they're showing it to me. Okay, I'm not saying this is the end all be all, but this is how it's being shown to me. The soul is like, in human terms, the master. So the master comes in, I would call it a companion, but they're saying master specifically. And then the human is the dog, okay? So you've got a dominant relationship here. It's a benevolent relationship between the soul and the human, between the master and the dog. But there is this idea that the dog has no idea what it's doing. It's very cute. It likes to play. It likes its belly being rubbed, but there is an adjustment where the soul has to have many, many conversations through this converter with you, with the human experience, because it includes an ego. That's why they're saying the dog. They're like, the ego needs to be trained in order to hold the identity so that you can actually bring it into your life without hurting yourself or others. The reason why we haven't been given a lot of this power at the human level is because again, they're showing, it's just like people running around placing their fingers in light sockets and then blowing themselves up. Like, it's just like, it blows up their consciousness because they don't know what to do with that amount of power, personally. And then they get scared and freaked out and there are no examples on what to do with it. So it's kind of like doing drugs. That's what they're showing me. So anyway, we don't have to worry about that. They're just giving me the examples. They are going to be teaching and training you. In fact, you're not going to be given access to these higher aspects of your soul without going through, they're saying it's a prerequisite program that they're running now for the conscious collective of humanity, that if you want to access more of the soul current, that you have to go through their program. So this is becoming actually a new conscious, light working collective curriculum that is available at the collective mind now. That's wild. And very cool. And it is a prerequisite because they're looking to create safety for the collective to access more of their own personal soul current continually until we have more examples and we can kind of teach the subconscious through like modeling on Earth. And in that case, maybe we won't need this, but this is necessary for now. So there are two aspects of this relationship. They have to train the master or train the soul on like, hey, when you're working with a human, because the soul doesn't even know how to work with the human most of the time, unless you have a lot of past life experience with this. Okay, when you're working with a dog, we'll paint it this way. The dog isn't always going to look out for its own needs. The dog is going to chase its tail. We still love them, right? The dog may or may not be socialized. So they might be aggressive to other dogs. They might be overly submissive to other dogs. They might not socialize well with humans. So there's dog socialization and human socialization. They're comparing this as in there's socialization with us at the Lightworker Collective, and there's socialization with us at the Human Collective. Can you be integrated with the humans? Which are like other dogs, and can you be in a variety of dogs, right? And can you be integrated and socialized at the Light Collective level, which are like with other humans, or what have you. More evolved of the humanity. Okay, bring me back to the dog example. What were we doing here? So the soul has to be trained, like, okay, the dog needs to eat twice a day. You need to be consistent. For those of you that have done dog training or have animals, like, you'll understand this. Dogs need consistency. They need safety. There is an alpha understanding where if you don't claim alpha status with the dog will automatically claim alpha status, and that is where behavioral problems come from. Now, alpha doesn't mean aggressive. It doesn't mean dominant. It doesn't mean mean. It is as simple as they're bringing the concrete example, because I was dog sitting last week with a beautiful lab that I think you guys saw. And the owner had told me that she was an alpha and that she could be kind of aggressive and that she pulls on leash and that she has her own mind. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, whatever. And then, and then I was with her. I was like, whatever it is, it's not gonna be an issue with me. And when I was with her, I started doing the things that I know to do. I've trained dogs before. I've had dogs. I love them. And I know how to create a safe space for an animal. And the way you create a safe space for an animal is you show that they're safe with you, which is to be alpha, not aggressive. It's to show that you are leading and that you have taken their consideration and their needs into consideration ahead of their own needs so that they can relax with you. Now, I did the things that I normally do that I noticed she had the training, because she listened to me. She was very available to do the things I asked her to do, but that her owner hadn't taken her through. So I was like, oh, she has the training, but there's a little more lackadaisical behaviors that are fine for humans perhaps, but in dog language, it's also understanding the communication. So the way the soul is communicating with the human, what's safe for the human can be very different than what's safe for the soul. So it's understanding what that communication is. What's safe for a dog? There are communication standards. So for dogs, for example, with this beautiful, wonderful yellow lab I was with, I had her sit, and I didn't, before I entered walked over any threshold, entered any door, I asked her to sit. I would enter the door first, and then I would turn around and say, okay, and give her permission to follow me. And I did it whenever I entered the gates on the property, the gates in the home, and then the front door in the house. And what that does is it says, I've got your back, because that's the language to the dog specifically. So the soul is learning the language to the human, how to adapt to the human. Now, could humans like just enter and exit as they please and still have respect for one another? Sure, dogs are different. Dogs speak in different terms as pack animals. If you allow a dog, for example, to walk ahead of you into your own home, you just told the dog, and if you do this repetitively, you told the dog, you're in charge, this is your home. And when they know that they are the leader of the pack, they then assume that they have to be aggressive, and they have to analyze for threats instead of you. It creates behavioral problems. Now, that's just a subtle example, okay? And that is how they're speaking to me about how the soul and the human have a relationship. So there's a language of what feels safe to the human. They're telling me this is my expertise as well. So I'll be coaching on this as we go. But it's like, what's safe for the human? And can the soul meet those safety needs? Frequently, the soul will send us in tower moments, dark nights, existential crises, rapid expansion of the mind, because the soul doesn't know. The soul is like, just walk through the door. Just walk through the door. What are you doing? Just come in the house of the creative soul self. And we're trained to be like, wait, but that means now I'm in charge of everything. Like, that's the way the dog thinks, right? That's how the ego thinks. The ego's like, wait, but if you give me access to that, soul, that means, and then it becomes like an ego identity crisis. So what they're doing is training the soul on how to dial back the current and how to work with I don't want to say constructive ego, work with the limits of the ego, what feels safe to the ego, because we are conscious down here. We're like good puppies. Like, we're like, yo, I'm a good dog. Like I want to be trained by you, spirit. Like, show me the way. A lot of the feast or famine cycle comes also from the soul not understanding how the human needs safety. So it's just understanding like human behavioral patterns. So that's being taught to the soul. Then there's also our astral bodies that are being taught the other side of the conversion or the conversation. This is how the soul speaks. The soul doesn't speak in step-by-step maps that are linear. And they're training us, they're teaching us like, hey puppies, we got a whole room of puppies. Come speak to your soul. This is your master, okay? It's like, this is the higher aspect of yourself. And like humans and dogs, they function a little bit differently. So the soul isn't like going to give you a full map of everything you need to do for the next 10 years and give you the security of understanding every single little bit, because that's not what happens. Oh, this is so much like raising an animal. So the way that they're describing it to me is it's like, can you as the ego identity trust that you have a master, and that master runs the house, and it's highly benevolent, and it's taking care of you, and it's making sure that you have your food twice a day, and it's taking you for walks likely at the same time every day, and then it's having you sit before the doorways before you walk in. Even with me and this pup, I was like, dogs will run out into the road. There's a potential for them getting hit by cars. They don't know any better. Like, I've taught every animal that I've been with, I'm like, you will sit at every corner with me. I know it's a pain in the ass, but you're not looking back and forth. me talking to the dog, right? And I actually do talk to them because they're very smart. They're conscious. The energy translates to them. Anyway, so I'll talk to the dog and be like, sit. And I'll literally say to them, I'll be like, I know this is annoying for you. I know your owner doesn't have you do this, your companion. However, I want to let you know that I am looking out for you and that you're not scanning for cars, but I am. And if you just pull me across the road, I'm running on my subconscious autopilot and I might miss something. Whereas if we stop at every corner, I'm able to look and analyze to make sure that you're safe when you're with me. This might seem crazy listening to me, but I don't think it is. Like this is how you create safety for an animal. Not how everyone does, how I do, what feels right for me, and how wonderful dogs behave very wonderfully with me. And anyone that does dog training will do things like this. So anyway, it's how the soul is working with the human. So this is really beautiful that they're giving it to us in this way because it's just so effing human. Thank you, Halls of Amenti. So it's like, you're the dog. All right, you're the dog. Get over it. You're the dog. It doesn't mean you're a lower form, but like you're not your full soul consciousness. And there is a master. Now, can you trust that that master, that your soul, that your higher self, that your higher power is taking care of you to the degree that I just said to you, like, hey, sweetheart, sit down for a minute. I need to look and I need to make sure there are no cars coming. Okay, let's go. I'm taking you out for a walk at this time, not this time, because at this time there's more traffic than usual. You know, we're gonna go for 3 walks a day. I know you love to run, so I'm gonna make sure that you have time to run with me, which might be like sprinting through ascension work. I know you like to have fun, so you know what? We've got a couple play dates, maybe more than that, scheduled through the week. I know you like to play ball. Also, it's really important that you socialize. So I've got some specific ascension protocol where I really need you to socialize with other humans, and I need you to socialize with other evolved humans. And you need to be able to discern the difference and be able to navigate through both groups. That can look like what's required here. Let me break this down again. What's required is you giving up. This is a surrender. You giving up your ego's need to control. Well, but I'm the one in charge. I have to feed myself. I have to do everything myself. I have to take myself on walks. I have to give myself the divine plan. I have to take into account everything that's happening on the human grid at all times to see that I'm making progress in the right way and I can make money and blah, 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 blah. Like, shut up, enough. Like, enough, stop it. They're having me come through that way for a reason. It's just like, it's like, relax. You have a master. That master has proven itself to love and adore you and look out for you in a million different ways. Now, can you give more things up and surrender to that higher power that does have a leash on a collar, not in a way that is like, you're being domesticated. It's like, is that bad? I feel like some people will be like, what? I'm not domesticated. It's like, take your ego, run amok, enjoy your life, whatever. The Halls of Amenti are saying this is the program. If you want to feel safe, it's good to have a collar and a leash and to know who your master is, okay? And your master is not anything down here. Like, it's not any demon, it's not any entity type, it's not any weirdo, it's not nothing. And if you guys have been watching my channel recently, the Akashic Records have been streaming so much on the conscious collective slavery contracts. And it's like, you're swapping out the slavery contracts for a safe, they keep saying master relationship. You are reaching to your ascended masters. Your higher self, the higher aspects of your soul, the avatar, the oversoul, the rishi, these are masters. I think that's why they're saying it's like, give them the credit where it is. You are to some level an ascended master, likely somewhere. There's an ascended master aspect of the soul. Why not give them that mastery? Allow them to put on the collar, because the collar doesn't mean, there's a fine line here. It doesn't mean control. It doesn't mean ownership. It doesn't mean a lack of freedom. It means safety. It means safety. It means you're tied to a master who knows you, who loves you, who wants to take you on the easiest path to get where you want to go. And they're checking in with you all the time. Like, what do you need? What do you need? Like, I'm going to give you the good foods. You want some treats? Like, I'm going to put some salmon on top of your food because I know you like that. Like they're taking notes all the time. about what you want as a human, like all the time. And they're already automatically leading us. Now they're giving me the example, Abraham Hicks, you know, with Esther Hicks, when she channels on the vortex is like where you're sending all the really positive ideas up to your oversoul. And then your oversoul is working through the ideas, looking at the map, looking at humanity, looking at the spontaneous expression of everything that's happening in any now moment, and saying, go this way, this way, this way, this way, eat lunch at this time. Okay, you're gonna go to bed at this time. We're going for a trip now. What else? We'll go for your walks then, like whatever, like dog training type things. That's what they're sending through to me, okay? The submission, what's hard for the ego is submitting to understand that you have a master who's looking out for you. That there is a part of your consciousness that is like a dog, that's the primal mind, that needs to be trained and domesticated by the soul, by the oversoul, in order to be cooperative, so you don't sabotage the good stuff that is meant for you, so that you don't sabotage your blessings, so you don't screw up your life. Okay, and let me just check in again on the voltage. I think that was the end of that specific message, but really fun message. I actually personally, now that I've heard it in this specific like scenario, I'm relaxed. I'm like, oh, I have an owner? Oh, and she's got me? I've got a collar, but I got like a cute collar. And I got little spikes on my collar, and I got like a little name tag. I've got a telephone number. If I get lost, I'll be sent home. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. There's a real organization about feeling like you're relaxed because your soul's got your back, because your higher power has got your back, your higher self has your back, truly. But there is a relationship. You have to understand the relationship of that. They keep showing me the, it's also not, they were showing me a collar just with a dog, it's at the neck, but it's not really, it's like, it's almost like those child harnesses. That's what they're showing me. They're not trying to like pull you by the neck. It's really like, it's really at the core. And they're like, this way. Like it's really at, the leash is like down here, where it's kind of just pulling you with your confidence, your solar plexus power in the direction that you need to go through your confidence. What's the next best confident decision? Not from ego confidence, from authentic, radiant confidence in your body. Okay. What else do we need to know about that? It should allow you to be relaxed. Even this conversation is a transmission that allows your ego to sit back a little bit and release some of the dominance, the control that you know better than God. Okay? It's some of the control where you think you know better than your soul, which makes us very not trusting in the process of what unfolds for us, and whether or not we think that linearly that makes sense for where we want to go, and then we give up mid-process because we go, it's not working, I'm not getting my manifestations, you know, and then we give up, and they're like, oh my gosh, you were almost there, but you're not trusting. You're not trusting the process. We need you to trust the master so that you trust the process. Trust your higher power to know the map. You're never going to know the map. The ego can't read to that level. It doesn't fit into the construct of the human mind. It doesn't fit into the context of the egoic identity. We cannot process it as humans. And because we are limited in our little mental mind ability to process, like the dog, does anyone, nobody in my streams is gonna be like, F dogs. No, people love dogs. You're gonna love animals, especially empaths, right? You love animals. You're not like, oh, that dog is dumb. Like, you're like, no, it's a dog and I love its presence, but its mind is only capable of processing a certain amount of information because of the biomechanics of the brain, of the animal, right? So it's like, the human is the same way. They're not like bad ego. Your soul's not like bad ego, but your soul's just like, oh, shoot. How do we get the information to the dog? Because they have such a limited capacity to understand what is going on spiritually and cosmically everywhere else. And it's like, well, how do they get to us? Well, they have to train us to understand the process of catch and release, understand the process of trust and surrender, understand the process of feeling safe and knowing that your soul has you on a tether and is pulling you in the right direction. That you are safe at all times because of that. And then understanding that you need to develop a relationship with your soul, with your higher aspects, so that you can also, they're showing me from our perspective as the humans, we can tug on that leash and go, hey, I need some attention. I need some support. Hey, I need some love. Like, can we hook that up right now? I'm feeling a little lonely. Like, can you hang out with me while I sleep? Like literally, it's like tugging on the other side of the rope as well, and letting your soul know, your higher power know, like, I need, this is my need right now. And then they go, oh, okay, oh my gosh, they're salivating. Do you need a little extra food today? And then the soul is like, okay, like, because it loves you. Do you need another or what do you call it? Another squeaky toy? I used to buy my dogs all this, oh my gosh, all the freaking toys. I'd be like, what do you want? I'm not gonna, you gotta think about it this way. This is how the soul is working with you. I used to take the lab that I had, oh gosh, I love her so much. I used to take her to the pet store, and I would take her leash off, and I go, sweetheart, tell me what toy you want. Which one do you want? And she would sniff the aisles. I'm not even kidding you. She would sniff the aisles, and she would look around, and she'd boop one. And she would do it like a few times, and then she would look up at me. She was so intelligent. And I would go, that one, and I would pull it off, and I'd give it to her, because I wanted her to make the choice. This is the way the soul works with us, you guys. Like, I wanted my dog to make the choice, because I was like, what's gonna make you the happiest? And if I don't know, I might choose something different than what you actually want. What do you want? And I would give her that sovereignty. I don't know if that works for all dogs, but for my dog, that was the way through, and I loved it. And she loved those specific toys that I got her. Anyway, that is how the soul works with us. When the soul isn't quite sure what we want, the soul goes, hey, why don't you explore this creative thing, project? Why don't you explore this community? Why don't you explore these relationships? Why don't you try this romantic relationship? And then can you tug on that rope and tell me what you want? After you get a little experience, can you tell me what you want? Like, which toy do you like the most? And then once we kind of sniff around, which is exploration, it's play, it's understanding, it's getting our hands a little dirty, like being willing. And then we go, you know what? I want this one. And then the soul goes, okay, great, you can have it. I'm gonna get everything together. Let me just like get the store clerk so we can like get the tag off, and like I'll pay for it. So there's a little bit of a patience in the process, like where the soul's like, I'll pay for it, let me take care of it, we'll get out, and then we'll go home. I'll get you in the car, we'll go home, and then we'll play with it. So like there's a patience of waiting your ships to land, your ships to come in, the manifestation to land for you, in between the moment where you say, yeah, that's what I want, and when it actually comes in. So that's a patience level that they're showing here too. All right, what else have we got on this? I love this channel so much, on this voltage currency situation. They're literally telling me, they're like, we almost might not need to do that much work. You're actually training the hive mind right now. I just saw a bunch of 7s go across the screen. How is that even possible? And my eyes blink. I don't know. I know it doesn't say oh no, there are. That's how I saw it. Holy crap. I saw 777 when I said that. Anyway. They're like, you're training the collective mind, because I'm in the Akashic records of that collective mind right now. So I'm actually like working through the consciousness and training the subconscious program. Anyway, so there's this whole great hall in the halls of Amenti that trains us to do all of this. How wonderful. That tells me that we're all going to have a lot more pleasurable, pleasant spiritual experiences, because now we're understanding what it is to be on leash. Like, it's so much better than running around the streets of Earth like as a feral animal. That's how they think of us, by the way, in case you were wondering. They're like, no judgment, that's just what you are. They're just like, you're feral animals. Anyway, what a fun stream. Okay, is there anything else that is like fun that you guys want to send me about this great room that we now have access to as a collective? We give you, they're pressing this again. My channels always kind of press this. This is the way that I function too, because the Akashic Records trained me in my spiritual work. They give you what you need, not what you want. Do not throw temper tantrums with God, with spirit, with the universe, when you are not given exactly what you want in the perfect package, okay? A lot of you have psychic gifts and think that psychic gifts need to look a certain way, and they won't. Your expansion of your mind and your consciousness won't look perfect to what exactly other people would claim as psychic, because you can't it's not that you can't handle, but you can't handle certain skills. They meet you right where you are. They give you what you need, not what you want. So for those of you that want to see physical apparitions of spirits, perhaps, but that would actually really screw up your ability to process and understand what spirit truly is, and might put you in a feast or famine fear cycle. They're like, we're not giving that to you. That's not the psychic ability you're going to have. You're going to be able to read between the lines moving forward in conversations with people, and you're going to be able to feel when they're lying to you, and they'll give you that instead. Like, it's like not as sexy of a psychic gift, but it's much more practical. Everyone is psychic, okay? The levels to which we expand our consciousness increase our own ability to interpret and intuit awareness, interpret and intuit understanding, interpret and intuit subconscious, subcontextual, subtle energy patterns, subtle emotional patterns, subtle mental frequencies, and actual energies that are vibrating that you can feel. Okay? Psychic abilities are intuitive abilities. You don't have to see perfectly and hear perfectly. Is it nice? Yes, but even to give you guys an example, sometimes it makes it hard to be human. They will meet you with what you need, not what you want. So if I were to tell you guys, for example, what I want is and they don't give it to me, okay? I want to hear my guides the way that I used to, with this crystal clear, crisp clarity that is very clairaudient, where they used to sit next to me. I would feel them and I would hear them very specifically in my mind. I am met with what I need now, and all of our psychic gifts change based on how much we can adapt to the human body. When I had more of those clear abilities, I was very, very ungrounded. Not on purpose, but because I was working so much spiritual current and cosmic current. That's just where they could meet me at that time, but it was at the expense of my human experience. I wasn't very human. I was human, I was here, but I wasn't enjoying my experience here. And I wasn't relating to people. Most of my energy was in my higher chakras. So in exchange, over the last few years, I've really grounded my energy. I've really come into my body. I've done all my shadow work. I've done my integration work. All of it's ongoing. I'm very physical. With being much more physically oriented with my energy, my psychic gift shifted. And now the information comes through as internal transmissions. And then I almost project them out to then hear the clairaudience. But the clairaudience is not coming through the way that it used to, and I do miss it. But my guides even said to me today, or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I was like, you know, I miss it, but what's the consequence if I were to ask for it back? And they said the consequence is you wouldn't feel as safe as a human, because you'd be moving more of your energy back up into your cosmic version of yourself, which is to be inhuman, not human. So they were like, you choose. Do you want more of a human experience, more of a cosmic experience? And I was like, well, I want to enjoy being human. So you know what? We'll deal with it. It's fine. I was like, it's all good. Just like give me some like more fun psychic gifts down here. But they translate differently. When you're more in your body, your psychic gifts shift and change because the frequency is more dense. So the information comes through differently. There are different ways of intuiting and understanding psychic gifts when they're more grounded versus psychic gifts when they are more cosmic. I actually can navigate all of it and teach all of it. I will be teaching all of this for the rest of my life. Like, it is like textbooks and textbooks and textbooks of information that very little people share, because I don't know. There are psychics and stuff, but not everybody's just as well versed, and there are so many different colors, we'll say, of the spectrum of understanding of intuitive abilities. But the point is, what they said, they will meet you with what you need to understand, what you need right now. If your ego will sabotage and throw a shit fit if they give you a step-by-step what's going to happen in your life, and you will actually like free will out of your blessings, they will not tell you a single thing. They will be like, you practice patience and you sit there and you wait. You know, you will be given what you need, not what you want. Be grateful, be thankful that that's how the system works, because you have an ascended master, that is your soul, that is looking out for you, that loves you, that wants to see you happy and vibrant and have fun. And they want to take photos of you and say how cute you are and share it with their friends. Okay, like, they want to celebrate your birthday and give you a cute little doggy, like, puppy cup when you go to Starbucks. Like, I don't know, like, you know, like, that's, they're making this so human. That's like how the soul works. Like, the soul is like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna give you a whipped cream cup today because I love you. I just want to see the look on your little puppy face when you sip up that whipped cream. It's like how the soul works. So if you understand that when you submit, you're submitting to God, you're submitting to your soul, you're submitting to your higher power. You're not submitting to something that's going to take control over you. You're submitting to benevolence. You're submitting to something that wants all the best for you, is actively planning it, trying to get it into your life. Then it becomes much easier to surrender. I use the word submission on purpose as opposed to surrender, because surrender is kind of harder to understand sometimes, whereas I think you guys will understand submission. There's dominance and there's submission. As humans, we try to dominate our spirit, and it's ridiculous because it's like trying to dominate the human if you're a dog. It's like, it only works if the human is a beta and submissive, and now you've got an alpha dog. But like, that's not how the soul works. The soul is alpha, okay? All right? The soul is, but we're not gonna say alpha isn't like aggressive. The soul is perfect, benevolent, looking out for everything, okay? In charge. That's what we'll say. The soul is in charge. The soul knows what's up. The soul knows what's best. So it makes it easier. I'm going to use the word submit again, because I really think it's more powerful than surrender. I think surrender comes with too many. There are so many, I can feel the programs coming off of it. Like, there are too many definitions of surrender and what that means to people. And it comes with a lot of baggage, is what they're saying to me. Submission. Think about surrender in terms of submission. Where are you submitting? Because to submit is to assume that you're going to receive. It's to assume you're taken care of in the highest aspects. This is not like, I don't know, like a dominant gym. This is not BDSM. This is like this is literally you and your soul. You're submitting to your higher power, okay? It's safe, it's happy, it's benevolent, it loves you. And if you think about it that way, I think that'll make it easier to navigate surrendering in a way that's not your ego trying to control what it is to surrender to get what you want, which is the program that they're showing me otherwise. Or surrendering thinking that you have to be poor, or you have to look spiritual. Like, there's so many programs at the collective level around surrender. That word is just not great to describe what the experience actually is. Submission, depending on your words at that. But at the collective level, they're telling me it's fine. But you're submitting not to something, it is dominant, but it's not dominant. It's dominant as in, if you guys aren't aware, when it comes to vibrational frequency, higher frequency vibration, light is dominant. It claims dominance over darkness. Higher frequencies, higher vibrational frequencies claim dominance over lower frequencies. Like, the lower frequency lifts to the higher frequency. It won't stay there. If you can maintain your space, your power in a high vibrational frequency, no matter what's going on around you, no matter what BS, no matter what people are doing, no matter what the environment is, you will be met because you are dominant, but you are not dominating. That is what they're saying to me. It's not about you dominating people. And this is perfect going back to the beginning of this channel. It's not about being manipulative. It's not about forcing things into place. It's not about controlling the narrative that other people have of you, for you, or your own personal projection. It's not about dominating down here. It's about being so attuned to your own dominant submissive relationship with your higher self. That's how they're describing it at the collective level, because it's just easier to understand as a human. But it's really it's just your relationship with your higher self, okay? It's your relationship with your soul. That automatically raises your vibrational frequency, your core vibrational frequency as a human, and your core vibrational soul frequency, because you're closer to the soul than you are to the human aspects. Like, you're merging them, which is to align with all of the mass, the momentum of the soul, which is the higher vibrational force. The point is, when you're in alignment with that, you are dominant, not dominating, dominant. You are the dominant force. To be the dominant force in any time space is to be a force to be reckoned with. You won't be messed with. People will meet you. Resources will meet you, but you have to stand your ground. This is about standing your ground, maintaining your authenticity, not lying, not being dishonest, being transparent, being open about your needs, asking for your needs, helping others to meet their needs when you can, when it's appropriate. Being in a state of cooperation, being in a state of leadership, personal leadership, always first. Personal leadership comes from cooperation. The best leaders are cooperative. They are not alpha. They are not dominating. The best leaders are cooperative, just like how the soul works with us. The best leaders on earth are the ones that are working with the other humans that they are leading and saying, what do you need? Let me see if I can provide it. This is what I think you need. How is that? It's a constant feedback experience. It's a constant negotiation experience. To do it any other way is to demand. Let me think about it in the terms of alpha versus beta. It's like, because what I'm talking about is cooperative leadership. We could call it, there are some collective terms around the servant leadership. It's leading from within. It's leading as the example. It's leading from a place that is not hierarchical. There's no status above the others. You're leading from the experience, from the crowd, from the example, from yourself, from your this is how they show it to me, your core authentic soul frequency coming out of you. And then you're leading from that place. You're leading from the crowd. You're leading in the community. Not leading from the place of, I'm spiritually superior to you. You will listen to me. Trust my word over your personal intuition. Honestly, like most, what do we call them? False prophets. There are a lot of them out there, you guys. I'm sure if you're following me, like you got it. You know, like all of the people that I'm listening to and stuff, we're in the crowd, in the collective. It's a smaller crowd of teachers, of guides, of leaders that are in the place of, you trust yourself ahead of me, okay? Because you're responsible for your experience, and you are just as capable of receiving your own divine guidance. Will you potentially, depending on where you are in your process, need help intuiting that guidance, understanding the mentality of like the human experience, the soul experience, merging all of it? Sure, and that's why there are a bunch of us teachers out here doing this work. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you know what's best for you, and it's always important that every person takes sovereign power and authority over themselves. Is there anything else I want to cover there? Is there anything else you guys want to cover? They're so funny, man. They look exhausted. What happened? You have no idea how much you stirred up in the collective and how we've been working around the clock to meet all of their requests. That's what they just said to me. That's some 100th monkey stuff. It's like people watched the videos, they did it at the collective level, the healing, and then it went out into the light collective, and then all the light collective people subconsciously in their astral bodies and their soul went, hey, I want some of that. Give me some of that. What's going on there? And they're like, oh my God, we are custodians. We are like cosmic negotiators. We were not prepared for this level of humanity to reach out. We have to get into every, like, okay. Like, so they've been running around. Quantumly, cosmically. I don't know. That's really cool. They said thank you. Actually, me even describing this, they said just alleviated their load, because now the mental construct, the ego is able to grab onto this energetic transmission at the collective level. So it's like when somebody reaches out and goes, oh my God, I want more of that now. At the collective level, it's like the collective light packet of data organized by a human with cosmic awareness is now available. So now there's less like pull on them to explain it to each and every soul that's on the planet right now. That's really cute. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this transmission up. This was really beautiful. If you guys enjoyed this, go like the video below. Let me know what resonated with you the most in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to jump into the Akashic Records Immersion program last minute before I close the doors entirely with the wonderful promo code I've got running, because I want you guys in here, if you want to be here, if you feel guided to join me. We had such a fun ceremony today, right, you guys? I see some of you guys. I got to read the comments. Really beautiful, really healing. It was so good. Anyway, if you jump into Akashic Records Immersion, you will get that recording as well as 18 hours of content. I cover how to access your Akashic Records, how to become the vessel of that like negotiational process, we'll say, or that communication between yourself and your soul or your higher aspects, understanding how your soul speaks to you, understanding how to build a relationship with your higher self in a way that you're going to understand and intuit, how to unpack and start digesting and understanding your own personal psychic gifts. This is what I take you through in this program. This is all done through reading your Akashic Records, which is understanding, intuiting, developing your intuitive awareness around your soul blueprint, around understanding the language of who you are, how your soul speaks to you, understanding past lives, resolving them, doing soul retrievals, understanding the manifestation process that is very spontaneous. Divine Mother takes us through like a 4 or 5 step process to go through how to create quantum leaps and quantum shifts in any now moment to have your needs met, regardless of what you want, that the need is met in the moment. I go through channeling, a lot of protection and invocation prayers around the channeling, and the channeling is for your higher self, not necessarily for other entity types, but I do teach you how to connect with your own guides, your own ascended masters and spirits. What else do we do? And I have I have another module on soul contracts. I'm rewriting your contracts and agreements, renegotiating what you signed up for, because we set our soul contracts into place before we come into this life. And then we get down here and we live some experience. And then we look back at our contracts and we go, what the F did I agree to when I got down here? Now that I've lived down here, that can't happen. Like, we need to rewrite this, okay? It was good until it wasn't. Now it's not. I want to rewrite it. Like, let me take the pen of God and start rewriting my soul contracts and my soul agreements and what I want in health, wealth, family, prosperity, my mental awareness, my belief systems, my home environment, my family, my spirituality, my spiritual compass. You can even work with and adjust your own ascension curriculum programs based on what you do as a human, understand your higher purpose. You can understand your soul essence. And then module 6, I go through connecting with your starseed lineage, your higher self in that way, opening up your multidimensional aspects of you, of your soul, which is to tap into, it's done through the Akashic Records, but the way the Halls of Amenti describe it is like downloading in all of that soul voltage. That's the multidimensional soul voltage into your human experience, so you can remember more and feel happier as a human here, because you'll understand more of your core authentic soul frequency and how to build that into your daily waking life to feel like you are happy in an effortless way, because you're creating your life from your own personal authenticity, which isn't just human. It's really based on your multidimensional experience. I take you through starseed lineages. There's a whole starseed light collective council that has a beautiful transmission in that module as well. And then I'm adding a module this summer as you guys go through. It's gonna be the 7th module on, oh my gosh, they said Ascended Masters, so it's funny. So maybe there's some Ascended Masters training in the course that the Akashic Records had me do as meditation activations. But the 7th module is going to be about ancestral bloodline clearing and healing, resolving karma, resolving your karma, your choices, the choices of your ancestors that are impressed upon you, the choices of the collective level that are made on your behalf that are good to be able to sort through quickly. Resolving your karma really clearly, really efficiently, and setting the course for new positive karma, which is like new positive good luck or positive momentum that lands on your plate with big blessings from spirit in the best of ways. What else do I got there? You get access to tons of meditations. Everybody loves those. There's a community component that I think you guys are enjoying a lot. And I'm going to be doing a couple of live Q&As as well, so you guys will have direct access to me to answer your questions in that way. Is there anything else I want to say? It's a really beautiful program. I think you're going to love it. If you feel guided, go check out the link. This is the last day, this like next 24 hours. Last time to sign up, and then I'm going to close all this down. in my brain. I'm just going to show up for the program, and the wonderful students I've got in there, you know, you guys have been amazing. It's a real beautiful, real collaborative, energetic experience, which I just really, really, really appreciate. I'm so honored to be able to teach it. So I think that's all I've got there. Okay, I'm gonna skim through the comments. I love you guys so much. If you've got any questions, send me an email at wearewokeaf@gmail.com. Okay, live chat. And if you use the code ancestors at checkout through tomorrow, it is 70% off. There is a payment plan. And if you decide that you want to pay in full because you are available to do so, I'm going to send you a little gift in the mail that I really think you're going to love. It's going to help you through the program. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys. Liz, Dylan, happy you guys are here. Large solar activity this week. I believe it. You know, there's so much stuff going on that we're on a full moon today as well. Liz, that's the best explanation of being honest and integrity I've heard. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm trying to explain it to people all the time because I feel like integrity on earth just get like people don't live by integrity. And I'm like, why not? Do you not understand? Like it's how the soul works through the human body. Like you don't just get away with things, please. You gotta put where your my guides tell me all the time in the Akashic Records, they say, put your money where your mouth is, Emily. And I'm like, okay, I got it. Doug, big conflict in the mind right now between hive mind versus spiritual sovereignty. Oh, always, right? Like, always. Hi, Daniel. Oh my gosh, you guys are talking about fasting, writing music. Is a spiritual awakening and its timing in life planned for in the halls of Amenti? Yes, it is. Now, depending on your free will, you can jump that timeline ahead. Sometimes people do that with big mushroom ceremonies or like end up doing acid at a concert or something, and it like jump starts the whole process. But generally speaking, yes, the spiritual awakening is planned, whether or not you accept it on its timeline and accept the awakening, because it, you know, is up to you. It's up to free will. Because there are a lot of people in the collective that are offered spiritual awakenings that just deny it. They're like, nope, I'll put my head down. Let me go back to work. Oh, Luna, good to see you in here. Okay. What else? Low flu. What up, fam? Yeah, this is great. You guys had so many videos for me today, too. I don't know how I had the energy for this, but I did, so I did it. 2020, so much opened up. Listen, there is a portal today that was opened in December of 2020. With the Capricorn full moon. So whatever was happening then, whatever decisions you made in December 2020 are kind of like coming to fruition. There's a return of that cycle right now. Let's see. Okay. Callie, hello, dear. I'm happy to have you in here. I loved all the dog references they sent through, you guys. I'm like really floored. Your eyes, wow, there are a lot of comments. Yeah, I'm just like, alrighty, you guys. Thank you for joining me in this stream. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you enjoyed this Halls of Amenti explanation. Enjoy the solar plexus leash to your higher self. He has got your best interest at heart. So start tuning in and listening intuitively. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you guys soon. Lots of love. Alrighty, peace.